Let's take a look at this case. The driver is trying to parallel park, but because a car is illegally parked in the lane becomes very narrow. So we can see it's very difficult for the driver to reverse the car into the space and thus complete the parallel parking. Let's roughly simulate the situation. First, let's look at the current situation. If we use the traditional method of driving the car forward first and then reversing back into the space, you'll find you can't reverse much before the front end risks hitting the illegally parked car. At this point, if we straighten the wheels and reverse, the angle of the car body is insufficient. Furthermore, the length of the parking space itself is also very short. So you'll find it's very hard to get the rear of the car into the space. Right, so at this point, if we try to straighten the car body, after straightening, the car body is still outside the space. Difficult to get fully in. So actually, in a situation like this, it's very suitable to use the head-in first method. And because the space is short, we need to incorporate shuffling adjustments in the middle. So first, we can drive forward alongside the space. Then, when our car's B-pillar reaches the front of the car behind the space, at this moment, turn the steering wheel fully left to swing the front into the space. Try to get the front end as far into the space as possible. Don't worry about whether you can get out later for now. After the front is sufficiently deep in, turn fully right to start pulling out. But because the space is short, you'll find you simply can't get out, right? It's okay. At this point, turn fully left and reverse. Then turn fully right and move forward to bring the front end back out. Now, let's look at the current state. First, the car's angle is still quite shallow. Second, the rear is still quite close to the car behind, right? In this situation, trying to reverse straight indefinitely won't work either. So here, we need to add some shuffling adjustments. How to do it? It's simple. First, turn fully left and reverse. But stop halfway, don't reverse all the way. Then, while keeping some reversing distance, turn fully right and reverse to the end. Similarly, when going forward, turn fully left and drive forward. But leave some space in front. Then turn fully right and drive forward to the end. Then just repeat the process. Turn left, reverse halfway. Turn right, reverse halfway. Turn left, drive forward a bit. Turn right, drive forward a bit. Until what point? After adjusting a few times like this. Just like now. After we've adjusted a few times, turn left and reverse. And find you can see the entire front end of the car behind. You can see its whole front end through the mirror. At this moment, after turning right and reversing fully back, the rear of the car will definitely be in the space. Next, just get the front end in. Turn left, drive forward. Turn right, reverse back. Thus completing this parallel park in an extremely narrow lane with a very short parking space. Today, we'll share key tips for reverse parking in an extremely narrow lane. First, when the lane for reverse parking is only wide enough for one car, with no room for passing, you must position the car's body as close as possible to the target parking space. Why? Staying close to the parking space side provides enough swing room for the front when you turn the steering wheel, preventing contact with the opposite wall. If, however, you see the lane is very narrow, but fail to get close enough to the space entrance, and you aren't positioned close, reversing becomes very difficult. Why? A slight turn of the wheel, and the front may hit the wall. If you can't turn the wheel, the rear won't swing towards the parking space entrance, but towards the car beside you. So, rule number 1, always try your best to stay close to the parking space. Another key point, drive forward sufficiently. Don't stop prematurely, even if you are close. If the rear hasn't passed the space entrance, before you start turning and reversing, the car body will quickly angle away from the neighboring car's rear and towards the car opposite, the one by the parking space. In a narrow lane, with little space in front, correction becomes very hard, and you might get stuck in the lane. So, first, get close. Second, drive forward sufficiently. How far forward? Ideally, until your rear bumper has passed the entrance, even if just slightly. While reversing, if you see the rear has passed the neighboring car by a large margin, like now it's gone too far, completely past it, then when reversing, turn the wheel gradually at first. A sharp turn now aims the car directly at the other vehicle. Turn gradually, and once you see the rear or the rear wheel has cleared the side of that car, quickly turn the steering wheel fully. Why? If you continue slowly, letting the rear curve gently towards the space, it will head towards the other car. So once the rear or wheel clears the car's side, turn the wheel fully immediately. This makes the rear swing sharply into the space. After turning in, you'll often find you can't complete the park in one single move and are blocked by the neighboring car. This is manageable. Just turn left, pull forward. Turn right, reverse back. Shift gears, change direction, adjust a few times. This way you can guide the car into the space. Remember two main points. First, get as close as possible. Second, drive forward sufficiently. Finally, once the rear or wheel, they are close together, clears the side, turn the wheel fully. Do it immediately, don't delay. If you delay, you might get blocked by this car. Let's look at this case. The driver tried to enter the garage, but due to poor timing and misjudging distance to the obstacle, the car hit the garage entrance. The situation is roughly simulated here. Many drivers make similar mistakes, relying only on precise steering timing and accurate distance judgment. They try to drive into this extreme environment. The garage entrance is very narrow, right? But look, even with perfect distance judgment from the wall, in very narrow passages, good judgment alone isn't enough. You still can't get through. The front might clear, but the rear will scrape. So, in extreme environments like this, good distance judgment is less important than good technique when turning from a wide area into a narrow passage. Delayed turning is a very useful technique. What is delayed turning? First, when turning, stay away from the passage side. Keep to the opposite side while turning. Don't aim directly for the passage. Aim for the outer wall. For the corner, drive forward more. Then steer toward the corner, not the entrance. Then reverse and adjust. This maneuver helps you enter the passage smoothly. If needed, repeat the adjustment. Now you'll have more space for both front and body. Why? Delayed turning changes your car's angle from this to this. A smaller angle means more width in the passage. So, in this situation, if the driver used delayed turning, even with poor judgment, they'd have more margin for error. In this video, we'll share parallel parking in an extremely narrow alley. First, observe this alley's width. Only one car can pass through. Side mirrors barely clear. For parking this narrow, any method except head first won't work. Why? It's so narrow that even slight steering, just 1/4 turn, makes the front hit the side. So, for this narrowness, use head first method. But there are key details. First, the narrow alley puts us close to side car. Drive until your B-pillar, the car's midpoint, aligns with rear car's front, then turn in. Turning in early, like now, at middle door. If you turn, rear will scrape behind car. So, wait for B-pillar to align with rear car's front. Go as deep as possible. Unlike normal narrow roads, where you enter a little then exit, here, entering just a little then exiting doesn't move car forward much, and rear space doesn't increase much. Reversing now, rear can't enter space. So go in deep. B-pillar at rear car's front, then turn in deep as much as possible. Avoid inner curb or guardrail. Go in far, then turn left to exit. You might encounter front stop. Okay to stop like this? No! Alley too narrow. Rear sticking out won't work if front stuck. Straighten or turn opposite way. Reverse slightly to let front have exit space. Then pull forward fully. Rest is like normal narrow parking. Turn right, reverse, until seeing rear car's full front. Then turn opposite way, continue. When reversed in, turn right forward, left back, right forward, left back, until parked in space. That's narrow alley parking. Next time, not just narrow alley, but also short space. Barely enough. Only 10 to 20 centimeters clearance. Like this. How to park. Let's take a look at this case. The person filming the video doesn't understand how this car got into this position. It seems quite magical. Actually, parking like this isn't that difficult. So the situation on site, we've roughly simulated. It's a corner spot, a perpendicular parking space, and there's also a pillar in front of the car, right? So to park like this, we just need to use the adjacent parking space to angle the rear of the car towards our target spot. Then there's a key point. What is it? We need to have the rear of our car directly facing the corner and reverse straight back, because with the rear directly facing the corner, after backing in, once the car is parked, the rear position is set, correct? Right there at the corner. Then next, we start to figure out how to keep the rear position unchanged while maneuvering the front end. It's similar to a pendulum motion, right? This operation is actually quite simple. You just need to remember, turn the wheel fully towards the inside, a little bit. Not too much. Then turn the wheel fully the opposite way and reverse back a little bit. As long as the forward and backward movement is small, then the rear of the car will hardly shift sideways. So we just need to slowly repeat the operation. Turn left, drive forward a little. Turn right, reverse back a little. Right? By slowly repeating this a few times while keeping the rear position unchanged, the front of our car will gradually swing into place until our car is perfectly parked in the spot. Let's take a look at this example video. The driver wants to park the car into this reverse slanted parking space. As you can see, even after multiple drivers tried, none could successfully park the car. The actual situation on site is roughly simulated here. First, when encountering a slanted parking space like this, it's best to park following its slant. For example, after driving up, if all other cars are parked head in, then backing in, with the front facing out is also fine. Moreover, entering the space is easier and safer. However, if the driver insists on being like parking head in and driving in against the slant, then the difficulty increases significantly. Let's demonstrate how to do it. First, when starting to enter headfirst, don't turn in too early. For instance, right now, as soon as the front enters the space opening, if you turn sharply inward, trying to get the front in, this will leave you with no room for adjustment because the left side of your car will be too close to the rear of the car on the left. If you reverse a little, the body might scrape when moving forward. Going straight, the front might hit something. You quickly get stuck. Therefore, you need to turn the wheel later. Drive the car further forward. Try to get the front end further ahead, then turn left to enter the space. At this point, even though the front hasn't gone in far, there is adjustment space on the left. Straighten the wheel. Reverse, turn left, move forward. Straighten, reverse, turn left, move forward. After adjusting several times like this, the front of the car can gradually move further in. Right, stopping like this is unacceptable because it would block the car next to it from exiting. Therefore, after the front is in, you must shift laterally to gradually align the car body to the same slant as the other cars. How to do it specifically? First, reverse straight to the end. Then turn the wheel fully right to move the whole body rightward while keeping front space. Turn fully left to go deeper into the space. With each adjustment, the rear can shift right by about half the distance. Continue until the car is aligned to the same angle as the cars on the left and right, and the distance on both sides is equal. Only then is this reverse slant parking operation complete, so it's very laborious. It's better to remember, it's okay to have the front facing out. It's best to just follow the slant. Today, let's review this case study. This involves a very narrow lane and a parking space with very little room on either side. Reversing out of the space, we can see that even with the assistance of 2 security guards, the driver ultimately failed to reverse out. The car got stuck in the lane. The situation on site is roughly what we are simulating here. First, let's observe. The space on both sides is very tight and the lane is narrow. In this situation, even if we try to shift the car sideways first before exiting, right? To create more room for the front to swing out later. But because the space is so extremely limited, by the time we reverse the rear all the way to the limit, the front still can't clear the space. So in a case like this, if we want to reverse the car out, there is one area of space we cannot afford to lose. Which space is that? It's the lateral distance between our car body and the car on the right. We cannot let our car body move away from it. You must stay close to the front of that car for our car to have a chance of getting out. See, after you reverse to the limit, the front, at least after a few adjustments, can drive away, right? So during the reversing process, how do we keep the car body pressed close to its front end? By using the counter steering technique. First, just as before, we perform a lateral shift before starting to exit. This gets the car body as close as possible to the white car on the left. Then, when reversing, estimate the room needed for the front and steer hard to reverse. But the key point is, don't reverse all the way to the end. As soon as you notice the gap increasing between our left side and the white car's front, stop immediately. Then, turn the steering wheel full lock to the right and reverse. The goal is to make the car body press close against the white car's front again. Then drive forward along the white car's front. Straighten up when we've driven until space in front is tight. Then continue by turning left and reversing. Whenever you notice the car body moving away from the white car's front, counter steer to get close again, then drive forward. Keep repeating this. Stay close to the white car's front. If we move away, counter steer to get close. Moved away, counter steer and get close. By doing this, we can make our car's rear continuously move towards the right, correct? Let's watch. Look carefully. See how the rear is constantly moving to the right? We continue until what point? When we are reversing with the wheel turn right and the rear has backed out enough that the front has some room to maneuver, then we no longer need to counter steer. Simply turn right and drive forward. Then turn left and reverse. After a few adjustments like this, the car can be driven out. Let's take a look at this case. The car in the video is parked at an angle by the roadside, but simply because the car behind is parked at a slightly shallower angle, it results in the video car having great difficulty reversing out of the space. The situation on site is roughly what we have simulated. First, let's look at the current situation. If we simply move the car forward a bit, and then turn left to reverse directly. You'll find the rear of the car. Simply can't clear the parked car behind. But if we change strategy and try to exit front first, turn left, go forward, turn right, reverse. The available length in this lane isn't enough for our car's length. So in a scenario like this, if we want to reverse the car out of the space, actually, we only need to utilize a simple sideways shifting in reverse technique. What is this sideways shifting in reverse? First, we can reverse the car all the way back. Then turning left, bring the car body close to the car on the left. Then turning right, pull forward as much as possible. Next, we begin the sideways shifting in reverse maneuver. Turn the wheel full left and reverse, but don't go all the way back. When about half the reverse distance remains, turn the wheel full right and continue reversing. When moving forward again, because the gap ahead is quite narrow, so we just drive straight into this gap. Only when reversing do we turn left and back up. Then with half the distance left, turn right and reverse. After repeating this a few times, our car's rear will gradually shift further and further outwards, right? We continue until when, after adjusting a few times, we turn left to reverse and discover what? The right side of our car can now clear the car behind. At this point, we can promptly straighten the wheels and reverse straight back until our car's rear wheels have fully passed the rear of the obstructing vehicle. Then we turn towards the obstructing vehicle, meaning turn right, and reverse back. This way, we can successfully reverse the car out of the space. To park successfully, how to do it? First, get close to the car and drive forward more. When reversing, keep the car close to the left car's front. You'll face the same problem. Can't turn the wheel fully. The rear aims at the other car. At this point, don't reverse fully. Keep some space. Then turn right fully and reverse. This moves the car closer to the left car again. Then drive forward straight. Turn left and reverse again. Each adjustment gets the rear deeper into the space. Turn right and reverse again. Drive forward straight. As you go deeper, you'll have more room to adjust the front. After a few counter maneuvers, reverse, then drive forward. After these adjustments, when you turn left and reverse, watch the right rear. It goes deeper into the space, right? Compared to being blocked before. Now it's near the mirror. Now the front has more room to adjust. The car body is also more aligned with the space. Now turn right fully and drive forward. Turn left fully and reverse. After a few moves, the car aligns in the space. Once straight, make a final adjustment. Turn left forward. Turn right forward. Adjust the side distances. This completes the tight space reverse parking. Today, we're sharing a case that's perfectly suited for solving with a side-shifting technique, a common real-life parking dilemma. It's parking in the second space on a dead-end street. In a situation like this, if you simply drive forward as far as possible, then turn the wheel fully and reverse, you'll see it's impossible to get into the space, right? Even if you try to adjust the car's angle before the space by steering back and forth, the rear still won't aim towards the space entrance. And if you try to adjust after just a few attempts, due to the narrow lane, you might get stuck in the alley, correct? For cases like this, we can use the side-shifting technique to reverse in easily. How exactly? First, drive forward close to the parking space. When the car reaches just past the space entrance, turn left and drive forward at an angle. After getting the car angled sufficiently, start turning the wheel the opposite way and reverse. Now, watch the right side mirror closely. If we cannot see the entire front of the car behind us, meaning even at the limit, its front isn't fully visible, then stop decisively. Then perform a counter-steering maneuver. Reverse all the way back. Next, begin the side-shifting operation. Turn the wheel full right and drive forward. Stop with space left, turn full left, drive forward. When reversing, also turn full right and reverse. Stop with space left, turn the opposite way, reverse. Just mindlessly alternate. One way for half, then the other way for half. Similarly, when reversing, right turn for half, opposite turn for half. Just keep doing this mindlessly. After just a few cycles, you'll find the car's rear aligning perfectly with the space entrance. Continue until when? When you are reversing with the wheel turn right and see the rear can clearly enter the space, right? Once you've reversed in, you might be in the space but not centered, with uneven gaps. Simply perform a final side shift within the space. This completes parking in the second space on a dead-end street. Let's examine this case video. The car needs to exit the parking space, but an illegally parked vehicle in the lane makes the passage very narrow. We can observe the driver ultimately got stuck while turning. The actual situation is simulated here. First, the illegal parking severely narrows the lane. This space isn't even wide enough for the car, right? Additionally, its front occupies half of our parking space. This results in a very short lateral distance between our car and the parked vehicle's front. When exiting, with such limited space, when turning right to exit, you'll find only a few adjustments are possible before getting stuck against its front. In this situation, if you need to drive away urgently, direct turning won't work. Multiple adjustments are needed. For example, when exiting now, first steer hard to the left to maximize distance from the obstacle. After moving out, don't turn immediately. Instead, continue straight forward, advancing as far as possible. Then use lateral movement, full left lock and reverse. then full right lock and reverse, then full left lock forward, full right lock forward. Repeat this sequence to gradually shift the car body away from the obstruction, creating crucial lateral space. Then initiate the turn into the lane. If the front still can't clear, straighten the wheels and reverse. Avoid counter-steering. Counter-steering would shift the body closer to the parked car, reducing maneuver space. Simply reverse straight back, then right steer forward. Reverse straight, right steer forward, then straight, until the front is sufficiently into the lane. As seen now. Good progress, but the front remains blocked. Now, reapply lateral movement to swing the tail left, aligning the body. This generates more space. The method: straighten wheels, reverse straight, then full left lock forward. Preserve some front space, full right lock into the lane. If risky again, straighten and reverse once more. Each adjustment shifts the tail further leftward. See, it's moving progressively, and the body straightens. On the next attempt, adequate space exists on both sides and front. As shown now, front clearance achieved, and side contact avoided. Thus, the exit maneuver under these conditions succeeds. Let's take a look at this case. The video car was parked headfirst. When it was time to leave, first, the vehicle itself was quite large, and the lane was particularly narrow. This made it impossible to reverse the car out. Even with the car body hugging one side while steering, the front still couldn't get out. So, regarding the situation on site, let's simulate it roughly. First, in a scenario like this, because the lane is so narrow, after reversing to the limit, the front of the car still can't clear the space, right? Even if the video car adjusts its position, getting the body close to the exit side. When we steer while reversing, after the rear reaches its limit, the front still can't exit the space. Furthermore, there isn't much room for adjusting the front. If we attempt to adjust recklessly, after just a few attempts, the car body can easily get stuck in the lane. Therefore, in such a scenario, to successfully reverse the car out, we must fully utilize the small space on the left side of the car. We need our car to get as close as possible to the car on the left. This way, the rear of our car can reverse out further, creating more adjustment space for the front. Then we can maneuver the car out. So how do we keep the car body consistently close to the left? The key is to use the reverse shuffle technique. First, while still in the parking space, we shift position, turn full left and reverse, then turn full right and reverse, then turn left and drive forward, then straighten the wheels. Try to position the car body close to the side we want to exit from. Then begin to exit. When exiting, steer directly while reversing. Here is an important point. Do not reverse all the way to the end. Instead, leave some remaining reversing space. Then conversely, turn full right and reverse, allowing the car body to get close to the front of that white car again. Then maintain the current angle without turning the wheels. Drive straight forward back into the space. Drive until the front of your car has little space left. Then, once again, turn the wheels left and reverse. Again, don't reverse all the way to the limit. Keep some reversing space. Then turn the wheels the opposite way to get close to the white car's front. Then drive straight forward. With each repetition of this maneuver, the car body, while staying close to the white car's front, allows the rear to swing further into the lane. After several such adjustments, for example, like now, we once again drive forward along the white car's front to the end. After these adjustments, when we steer while reversing, the rear of the car can reverse out much further. It can even reach here now. This means our car's front also gains more room for adjustment. Then we can turn right and drive forward. Then turn left and reverse, thereby maneuvering the front end out, completing the reversal from this very narrow lane. Let's take a look at this case. The video car wants to drive headfirst into the parking space. However, because the cars in the space are all parked at an angle, the vehicle ends up stuck between them. The situation on site is roughly simulated like this. First, in real life, if we encounter this kind of angled parking situation, we must park following the same angle. For example, like now, our best approach is to reverse the vehicle into the space, because doing it this way, the adjustment angle for our vehicle is an obtuse angle. Reversing and parking this way is safer and more convenient, right? See, now it's very easy. It can reverse into the space in one move. But if we want to be like the other cars and drive in headfirst, this creates an acute angle. Driving in against the angle is the most difficult. But if, for example, there's a roll, or we simply want to park head-in, let's see how troublesome it is. First, if we turn the steering wheel to early when entering, for instance, like now, as soon as the front enters the space entrance, we try to drive straight in, right? Then very quickly, the front can't get through. At this point, coupled with the fact that our car body has limited lateral distance to the car on the left, if we reverse back a little to readjust, the inner side almost scrapes the rear of that car, right? Also, because the car is parked against the angle, there's no space for the front either. So after a slight adjustment, it gets stuck just like the video car. Therefore, if we want to park head-in, we must turn the wheel later. Let the vehicle drive forward more. even if we go a bit too far, and the front has little space to the parking spot, right? We turn the wheel, but can't move far before being blocked. That's okay. When the front is blocked, we straighten the wheels and reverse a little. Turn left and move forward. Adjust slowly like this. What's the purpose of this? We always maintain the lateral width on the left, right? Then gradually adjust the front. At the very least, it allows our car to enter the space, correct? But after entering, the car body is straight, but the others are angled, which won't work. Why? Because this way. First, your rear sticks out too much. Second, it's hard for the other car to leave your rear and blocks their rear, so we still need to adjust to match the same angle. Remember, during adjustment, we must reverse straight back. Many think, to move the rear that way, I should turn right. That's wrong, because if you do that, before the rear moves over, the body might hit the other car, right? Therefore, when adjusting, just straighten the wheels. Reverse straight back to the end. Then turn the wheel full right, bringing the front closer to the car on the right. Then turn full left, and drive into the space to the end. This is like a conservative adjustment, moving the rear over bit by bit. If one attempt isn't enough, we reverse the vehicle straight back again to the end. Turn full right to get close to the neighboring car. Then turn full left and enter the space. We continue until the width on both sides is roughly appropriate, right? Similar width on each side, and the car body angle matches the other cars. This way, we can complete parking against the angle. So, it's still better to park following the angle of the space. Let's look at this case video. The car is exiting a parking space on a narrow road. However, the front ends of the two cars beside are parked somewhat protruding. This makes the passage particularly narrow. We can see the driver tried adjusting once, but still risks scraping the car. The actual situation is roughly simulated here. Firstly, this is essentially a right side exit. The lane is very narrow. In such a situation, it's best to make an adjustment before starting the exit. For example, first turn left and move forward. Then turn right and move forward. When reversing, first turn left and reverse, then turn right and reverse. The purpose of this is to move the car body away from the exit side as much as possible, allowing for a wider turn. Additionally, try to drive the front of the car further forward before turning the wheel. The goal is similarly to preserve the lateral distance on the right, then turn right and drive forward. When the front can't go further, straighten the wheels and reverse. Don't turn the wheel the opposite way. Reverse straight back a little, then turn right and move forward a bit. If the front gets risky, straighten up and reverse straight back. Repeat until the front of the car fits properly between the two cars in the lane. Right, just like now, the front can pass, but moving further forward, the rear might scrape the front of that car. At this point, we can further use lateral movement to shift the rear more to the left. How exactly? Keep the steering wheel as it is. Reverse straight back to the end. Then turn left and drive forward a stretch. Leave some space in front. Then turn right and drive deeper into the lane. With each repetition, the car body becomes more perpendicular to the lane, and the space on our right becomes more sufficient. Given the current situation, for safety, we can adjust once more. Reverse straight back to the end. Then turn left and move forward. Then turn right and move forward. This continues until the car can pass on both sides, thus completing the narrow road exit. Let's take a look at this case. The video car is parked headfirst. When trying to leave, first, the vehicle itself is quite large, and the pathway is also very narrow. This makes it impossible to reverse the vehicle out. Even if the car body is pressed close to one side while steering, the front still cannot get out when reaching the end. So regarding the situation on site, let's simulate it roughly. First, in a scenario like this, because the pathway is so narrow, after reversing to the end, the front of the car still cannot clear the space, right? Even if the video car adjusts its position so that the body is close to the exit side. When we steer, after the rear reverses to the limit, the front still cannot exit the space. Moreover, there isn't much room for adjusting the front. If we adjust recklessly, after just a few attempts, the car body can easily get stuck in the pathway. Therefore, in such a scenario, to successfully reverse the car out, we must fully utilize the little space on the left side of the car. This allows our car to get as close as possible to the car on the left. This way, our rear can reverse out further, giving the front more room for adjustment, and finally maneuver the car out. So, how can we keep the car body consistently close to the left side? The key is to use the reverse and adjust technique. First, while still in the parking space, we shift the car laterally. Turn full left and reverse. Then turn full right and reverse. Then turn left and drive forward. Then straighten the wheels. Try to position the car body close to the side we want to exit from. Then begin exiting. When exiting, steer directly and start reversing. Here is an important point. Do not reverse all the way to the end. Instead, leave some room to reverse further. Then, conversely, turn full right and reverse. This makes the car body press close again to the front of that white car. Then maintain the current angle without turning the wheels, and drive straight forward again. Drive until the space in front of your car becomes limited. Then, once again, turn the wheels left and reverse. Again, don't reverse all the way to the end. Keep some reversing room. Then countersteer to get close to the white car's front. Then drive straight forward. With each repetition of this maneuver, the car body can follow the front of that white car, allowing the rear to swing deeper into the pathway. After several such adjustments, for example, like now, we once again drive forward along the white car's front until the end. After several adjustments like this, when we steer and reverse, the rear of the car can reverse out much further. It can even reach here now. This means our front end also gains more adjustment space. Then we can turn right and drive forward. Then turn left and reverse, thereby maneuvering the front end out, completing the reversal from this very narrow pathway. Let's take a look. Haha, for a high curb like this, how should you get down? First, check the actual height. It's taller than 2 water bottles stacked. Ha ha ha. The actual height is 21 centimeters. Normally, going down even at low speed looks like this. Because the suspension has elasticity, the moment the body drops, it scrapes the chassis. Now, let's look at the rear wheel. I'll slow down the video. Do you understand now? You know the car's chassis is higher than the curb. But why did it still scrape? It's mainly due to the springs in the suspension. They create an instant downward force. So, to solve this problem, we need to angle the car sideways, because when angled, the wheels come down one by one. Of course, you must slow down when descending. This further reduces the downward force. Let's take a look. See, by doing this, our chassis doesn't get scraped, right? Because the other 3 wheels provide support. Plus, we descend very slowly, so the downward force is greatly reduced. But try not to angle the wheels too sharply, otherwise it might squeeze the tire sidewall. See, just come down one wheel at a time. As we saw earlier, the curb is basically level with this car's chassis, so we just need to slow down, angle the car sideways, and let the wheels descend one by one. Angling the body has another benefit. There will always be one wheel with traction. This prevents both wheels from spinning freely. Let's take a look. Haha, for a high curb like this, how should you get down? First, check the actual height. It's taller than 2 water bottles stacked. Ha ha ha. The actual height is 21 centimeters. Normally, going down even at low speed looks like this. Because the suspension has elasticity, the moment the body drops, it scrapes the chassis. Now, let's look at the rear wheel. I'll slow down the video. Do you understand now? You know the car's chassis is higher than the curb. But why did it still scrape? It's mainly due to the springs in the suspension. They create an instant downward force. So, to solve this problem, we need to angle the car sideways. Because when angled, the wheels come down one by one. Of course, you must slow down when descending. This further reduces the downward force. Let's take a look. See, by doing this, our chassis doesn't get scraped, right? Because the other 3 wheels provide support. Plus, we descend very slowly, so the downward force is greatly reduced. But try not to angle the wheels too sharply, otherwise it might squeeze the tire sidewall. See, just come down one wheel at a time. As we saw earlier, the curb is basically level with this car's chassis, so we just need to slow down, angle the car sideways, and let the wheels descend one by one. Angling the body has another benefit. There will always be one wheel with traction. This prevents both wheels from spinning freely. Let's take a look at this case video. The car is reversing into the parking space. However, due to the car next to the space, its front end is parked too far out. This makes it difficult to align the rear of the car with the entrance. To complete the reverse parking, so the driver decides to turn around and try reversing from the other direction. But at this moment, a car approaching from behind with its shorter body takes the parking space. So let's simulate the situation on site. First, let's see, because this car's front is sticking out. It means when we pull our car up here, it's hard to get the body close to the entrance. In this situation, when we reverse, even if the rear is right against its front while backing up, it's still hard to point the rear directly towards the space. Instead, it aims at the neighboring car's front. And if you try to adjust, because it's protruding, there isn't much room for your own car's front. After adjusting, the car body can easily get stuck in the aisle. Right, in a case like this, if you try to turn the car around, or find a place to turn around, you can easily be overtaken by a car coming from here, or, just like in the video, have the space taken by another arriving car. Therefore, besides turning around and backing from the wider side, we can also use a push-pull technique to reverse in from this side. How exactly? It's simple. We still try to get close to the protruding car's front as we move forward. Then when reversing, keep the rear close to its front while backing up. At this point, we face the same dilemma. The rear clearly isn't aiming for the space entrance, right? It's heading for the neighboring car's front instead. So now, we don't reverse all the way in. Keep some reversing room, straighten the wheel, then turn it fully left, and push back in the opposite direction. This brings the body close to its front again, then drive straight forward until there's little room left in front. Then turn right and reverse again. Okay, keep reversing room, then switch direction and reverse. Good. Once close to the neighboring car's front, drive straight forward again. With each repetition of this maneuver, the rear aligns more with the space entrance. Right, it's blocked less by the other car. After adjusting a few times like this, until we can clearly see the entire front of the white car next to us, just like now. After one final reverse all the way in, we can fully see both of its headlights. Now, we turn left to adjust forward, then right to reverse. There, after a few adjustments, the car body straightens out, right? Once parked inside, if the space on the sides is uneven, we can shift position within the space by moving sideways to adjust the left and right width, thus completing the reverse parking in this situation.
来看案例，这位司机进行转弯，由于旁边停了一辆斜向的货车，就导致车头可以出来，但是车尾被卡住的现象。来，咱们讲一下这个场景应该怎么去调整。我们一直在讲车头先出，离这障碍点越远越好，所以我们就需要让后轮去往右移动，尽可能去做到和货车的角度进行平行。你看，障碍点这边有空间了，而且车身也直了，车身越直越好出嘛。但是怎样才能让后轮往右走呢？还是利用平移的方式。你看卡住之后，咱们先原路倒回去，去远离危险。好，接下来平移应该怎么做？可以看到左边的空间很小，做倒车平移显然是不合适，很容易出现剐蹭，所以还是得用前进式平移进行调整。好，继续往后倒，给前面留出空间，往哪边平移就往哪边打方向。右打方向往前走，车头留出一半的空间，反方向拉回来。这里有一个重点，就是往前走的时候，我们一定要以右车头的极限为准，目的是让后轮跟着往右前方顺。你看现在后轮这里是不是空间大一些了？如果还过不去，那我们就重复刚才的操作，再来一次，直着倒车，右打方向往前走，留出空间拉回车身，以车头的极限为准往前顺。每做一次，你的后轮就会往右走一点，你左边的空间也就会大一点。其实现在呢，直着往前走是可以出来的，但是如果你感觉还是紧，那我们就再来一次，因为每做一次，你左边的空间就会更大一些，同时你的车身角度呢和货车就会越来越平行。这样做就等。
Let's examine this case study video. While reversing out of the parking space, the car became stuck in the lane. They found no way to maneuver it free. Ultimately, they had to ask the owner of the car properly parked in the space to move their vehicle before the trapped car could escape. Let's roughly simulate the on-site situation. Initially, the driver likely reversed out without making any adjustments, reversing straight back directly. Only after running out of space behind did they turn the front wheels, left front, right back. But the result was, the lane simply wasn't long enough for the car, leaving it stuck diagonally in the lane. Many ask how to escape such a situation. Actually, we needn't focus solely on escaping the trap. Why? Look here, the fact the car got stuck like this shows the lane length is actually quite sufficient. So if we just make a slight adjustment, asterisk before asterisk starting to exit, exiting isn't difficult. For example, aiming to exit the rear this way. Okay, good. First, reverse back while steering this way. At this point, the front might swing and risk hitting the neighboring car, so we straighten the wheels promptly and continue reversing at this angle. Right, once the rear reaches the limit, we can turn the wheels fully right and pull forward once. What's the goal here? Our car body now sits closer, tight against this red car. Right, then staying close to the red car, we simply drive straight back into the parking space. Now, watch when exiting again. There's sufficient swing space on this side, right? Plus, the lane itself isn't extremely narrow, so we can turn full right to reverse. Watch carefully by making just this small adjustment before exiting. Exiting becomes much simpler, doesn't it? Then, we can easily drive the car out of the space. Let's examine this parking challenge. Dozens of parked electric bikes create an extremely narrow passage. The driver struggles to reverse, despite multiple attempts. This simulation shows the real problem. The tight space severely limits steering wheel movement. Sharp turns risk hitting opposite bikes. Gentle turns fail to align the rear. The black car creates an obstacle. Front end has no maneuvering room. Forward movement is restricted. Reversing brings no improvement. The car becomes trapped in the alley. The reverse thrust technique solves this. Watch carefully. First, approach close to the parking space. Limited steering in narrow space. Key, stop before fully reversing. Full counter steer, then complete reversal. Straighten and advance. Left turn, begin reversing again. Repeat the partial reverse maneuver. Gradual progress with each iteration. Follow the white car's line forward. Maintain distance, counter steer, reverse. After several cycles, left reverse achieves deeper penetration. Rear approaches mirror alignment. Front now has clearance. Full right forward, full left reverse. Perfect alignment into space. Fine-tune for equal spacing. Left forward, right forward adjustment. Straight reverse to final position. Mission accomplished in tight space. Let's take a look at this case video. The car wants to exit the parking space, but there are many illegally parked vehicles in the alley, making the alley extremely narrow. We can see that even with someone directing, the owner tried multiple times, but couldn't get the car out. The situation on site has been roughly simulated. First, for exiting a narrow space like this, we must adhere to one principle. What is it? We must make the rear wheel on the turning side move away from the inner corner of the turn. So first, in this current scenario, if we want to exit left, then while exiting, we should steer slightly to the right, making the car body lean towards the right as much as possible. So the car body moves away from the inner corner, right? Also, the front should go out as far as possible. Before steering, what's the purpose? To make as wide a turn as possible. So our left rear wheel moves away from the inner corner. When the front can't go further, don't counter steer and reverse, because counter steering will make the car body move closer to the inside. So we just reverse straight back. But not too much. Reverse a little, turn left and go forward. No space in front, reverse a little, turn left and go forward. After several adjustments like this, let's see the result. We're still stuck in the alley, right? What's the reason? It's still because our left rear wheel is too close to the inner corner. So next, we continue to make it move away from the inner corner by shifting laterally. First, we can keep the steering straight and push the car all the way back straight. Then first turn right, making the whole car body lean to the right. Keep some space in front, then turn left, and re-enter deeper into the alley. Each time we do this, the car body can go deeper into the alley. And the more adjustments we make, the more space we have on both sides. After several attempts like this, let's see. Turn right and go forward. Turn left and go forward. Now, without the front touching the car ahead, the left rear wheel can also clear the inner corner. Thus, we can complete this scenario of exiting an extremely narrow path. Let's take a look at this case. The parking alley is already quite narrow, and there's a row of cars parked illegally opposite the space. This makes the alley even narrower when reversing. What happens in a narrow alley? When reversing, even using maximum space, with the car close to the white vehicle, your front end is also close to the illegally parked cars. But when reversing fully, the rear still can't enter the parking space. Furthermore, there's little room to adjust the front. If you try to adjust, you'll find that space keeps decreasing. You might even get stuck between cars. Impossible to park properly in such scenarios. With extremely narrow space and only one space available, we need to use the reverse thrust technique. How does it work? First, get close to the parking space entrance. Move forward as much as possible. When reversing, watch the right mirror. Keep close to the white car's front. Also watch your front to avoid the black car opposite. Then start reversing. Key point, don't reverse all the way. Keep some reversing space. Then stop in time, straighten the steering wheel. Turn full left for reverse thrust. Purpose, make the car body close to the white car again. Then follow the white car's front. Then, turn right and reverse again. Keep space, reverse thrust. Follow white car forward. This operation helps the rear to gradually enter deeper into the space. Right, now we're partially in. Quite a lot, right? Do it again, forward, then full right. Until the rear is fully in. And the front has adjustment space. Then turn left forward. Right backward. Left forward. Right backward, until the car is straight. Right, if sides are uneven after entering, make a lateral adjustment. Thus, we park the car properly in the space. Today, I'm going to share with you how to park in this innermost reverse parking space. First, there are two situations. The first situation is what? The area in front of the space is very wide, wider than our car's length, right? That's one situation. The driveway width is greater than our car length. In this case, we can simply make a U-turn right in front of the space. How exactly? First, we can drive forward close to the side of the parking space. Then, when our car, just as the front of the car reaches the space entrance, at that point, turn left fully and drive forward, right? After the front can't go further, turn the steering wheel the opposite way and reverse. After reversing to the end, turn the opposite way again and drive forward. Repeat this until when? Until we can see from the left side mirror. Right, until we can see from the left side mirror the full front of this car. See, that means our car has turned around sufficiently. Then, straighten the wheels and reverse. Wait until the rear of the car passes the front of the neighboring car. Then simply turn left fully, guiding the car into the space. That's the first situation. What's the other situation? That is, when the driveway we're in is very narrow. Right, it's not wide enough for our car to make a U-turn in front of the space. It's too narrow for a U-turn. In this case, if you still think you can drive the front in and then somehow reverse into the space, it definitely won't work. You can't get the rear aligned that way. In a situation like this, we need to turn around before entering the aisle. Then reverse in. Now, if at this point, while reversing into the space, you are unsure about the steering timing, you can use this technique. What technique? First, similarly, get close to the side of the space and reverse. Drive backwards until the car is all the way back. This positions our car directly in front of the space entrance. Then at this point, turn the steering wheel fully away from the space and drive forward. This makes the rear of our car align with the space entrance, right? Then turn fully the opposite way and reverse. Entering the space this way makes the timing easier to find, right? And the steering is also simpler. Those are the two methods. Let's take a look at this situation. The car with the dashcam wants to reverse out of the parking space, but there's a car behind it, blocking its path. As we can see, the driver actually has quite a bit of usable space. However, they still can't manage to reverse the car out. The actual situation on site is roughly as we've simulated here. First, let's note point number 1. The illegally parked car doesn't actually block us that much. The gap left is quite large. Furthermore, there is also some space in front of the dashcam car. But let's observe, even if the driver pulls the car as far forward as possible, creating enough space for the rear wheels, because the rear wheels cannot steer and can only rely on turning the front wheels to push the rear end backwards. This leads to two problems. What are these two problems? First, the front end swings out and might hit the car next to it. Second, even if there is enough swing out room, avoiding the adjacent car, because the rear wheels lack steering ability, the turning trend is very slow, and it still can't avoid the car behind, right? So in a scenario like this, what do we need to do to get out? We need to shift the car sideways. We need to move the car partially towards the right. For example, if our car ends up like this, wouldn't it be easier to get out then? Simple, right? Then we can avoid the car behind, correct? The question is, how do we move outward? From this inner position, that is how to shift sideways. So how do we perform this shift? Remember the half and half principle. For instance, now we can first drive the car as far forward as possible, then turn the steering wheel fully towards the direction we want to move right and start reversing. But don't reverse all the way, only go back halfway. What does halfway mean? It means using only half of the available reversing space. Then for the other half, straighten the wheels, then turn fully left and reverse all the way back. When moving forward, also use the half principle. Divide the available forward space into two parts. Drive one part with the wheels turned right, then drive the other part with the wheels turned left. Repeat this process. Reverse halfway with wheels right. Reverse halfway with wheels left. Go forward halfway with wheels right. Go forward halfway with wheels left, right? Can you see the lateral distance to the car on the left increasing? Right, let's do it again. Reverse halfway with wheels right. Reverse halfway with wheels left. Go forward halfway with wheels right. Go forward halfway with wheels left. Look, this time, hasn't our car shifted outward sufficiently? Then we can try turning the wheel fully right and reverse. Watch carefully. Now the rear of the car can avoid the car behind, right? There's another key point here. That is, when the rear of our car clears the obstacle car and the wheel reaches the corner of that car, we must promptly straighten the wheels. By straightening the wheels at this point, we maintain that distance and can reverse straight out. If you keep the wheels turned while reversing, the car body will quickly swing back towards the obstacle. The wheel is the pivot point. When the pivot point reaches the obstacle, promptly straighten the steering wheel. Once there's a gap, reverse straight back following that gap. Until when? After the rear wheel has completely passed the obstacle, we can turn left, continuing to move the car away from the obstacle. Let's examine this case video. A car is parked ahead of the target space, making the lane extremely narrow. The driver attempted multiple times, but couldn't reverse into the space. We've simulated the situation. First, observe that, due to the illegally parked vehicle, the lane is very narrow. When reversing into the space, you'll find you can't turn the wheel fully. Otherwise, the front would hit the opposite car. So we must turn the wheel gradually, but this misaligns the rear with the entrance, hitting the rear car's front. In this situation, adjusting is hard. Can't move forward much. Space is limited. Reversing doesn't help much either. A few attempts might get the car stuck in the lane. In such cases, if we must reverse from this direction, we can use a counter-steering technique. First, stay close to the parking space side and drive forward as much as possible. Then turn fully and start reversing. At this point, the rear doesn't aim for the entrance, but toward the neighboring car's front. Now, don't reverse to the end. Keep some reversing space. Straighten the wheel, then turn full left to reverse. This pushes the car body back fully. Now the car body is again close to this car's front. Straighten the wheel and drive forward until no space remains ahead. Then turn full right and reverse again. Check the rearview mirror. Reversing fully might still be blocked by its front. Again, stop midway, straighten the wheel. Counter steer and reverse. Then drive forward straight. Repeat, right turn, reverse. If the rear won't enter, counter steer, reverse fully. Drive forward straight. After several iterations, when you turn right and reverse again, you'll find that after reversing fully, you can see past the neighboring car's front. The rear can partially enter. Now use the front space. Turn full left, move forward. Turn full right, reverse. Gradually straighten the car body. Once aligned and straight, you can then reverse into the space. Then use parallel adjustment to balance distances on both sides. Turn full right, move forward. Then turn full left, move forward until distances on both sides are equal. Reverse straight into the space, completing the parking in this situation. In this video, we're sharing a technique suitable for reverse maneuvering scenarios. For example, the current situation, a diagonally parked car. We reverse into the spot. So after reversing in, we park in reverse, right? Others park head in. But we can also park head first like this. But when leaving, we don't want to reverse all the way back. A long distance, right? Reversing in was fine. But now, trying to get the rear out in reverse is very difficult. Let's look at the first point. Because the car is angled and the cars on both sides are very close, you'll find you simply can't back out, right? Plus, the aisle is narrow. Hard to swing the rear out this way, so the front can clear. This is where we use our reverse maneuvering technique. For example, we can do this. First, turn the wheel right and start reversing. But don't go all the way, leave room to back up. Then turn the wheel fully left and reverse. Then, you just need to repeat this process. Then drive straight forward to the end. Next, we just mindlessly repeat the steps. First, turn right and reverse. Then turn left and reverse. Okay, the front is getting close, so we drive straight forward. Then right turn, left turn, drive straight. Turn right. Okay, turn left, then drive straight. With each cycle, watch the car's rear end. See how it's moving further. To the right, right? After a few repetitions like this, right, we go to the end again on the next right turn. Once the rear is fully out, some space opens up for the front. At this point, we reverse the process. Turn left and go forward. Turn right and reverse. Turn left and go forward, ... That's achievement. The goal of reversing out of the spot. Let's watch this case video. The car is backing in. But due to the second car by the space, the car's front is sticking out. This makes it hard to align the rear with the entrance. Can't parallel park. What's the situation? Let's simulate. First, because this car's front is sticking out, that would leave us no way out. Get the car as close to the garage entrance as possible. Based on his prominence, adjust the body outward. But since the pants don't hug the leg opening, it's super narrow. So when backing up, you'll see we can't figure out the direction. Hit it hard. When you turn sharply, the front swings out. You'll hit their car's front. Then just slowly turn the wheel bit by bit. Turning the wheel, he eased up on managing the rear of the car. What if management gets lax? The exhaust pipe isn't entering the garage, now but is blocked by the car to the front. Little room for adjustment either. Can't adjust shit. The car body could also get stuck in the passageway. So in such cases, we need to nail this reverse parking. One more adjustment. For instance, let's press on with heads held high. So due to his prominence, I'd say it's halfway there. At this point, due to the channel block, we can't turn the wheel all the way. Check mirrors. So what do we notice now? The car's rear isn't facing the garage front. So then, don't push the car all the way. Keep clearance for backing up. Turn the wheel hard right and reverse. This works so the body hugs the berth tighter. Right then, let's follow the car on the left. Driving forward at this angle, then another try left and reverse. What did we find? Once the tail end is fully pushed, he missed part of the car's front. Blocked by his car's front. So let's counterattack the backhand again. So the car hugs the pant leg again. Then go straight. So after these adjustments, again left and lean back. Okay, watch closely. Then we can dodge his car's front, right? So if you dodge his car's front, you can even use your own car's front adjustment. Alright, let's turn the wheel hard right and go forward. Hard left, reverse. Turn right hard and go forward. Reverse. Until we sort this car out first. Once lined up, just pull right in. So the widths differ on each side. Now slide horizontal left and drive. Turn right hard and go straight. Well, until both sides are symmetrical. Then relocate this storage bin. Let's take a look at this example video. The car is reversing into the parking space, but the car gets stuck in the aisle. We can see the driver tried multiple times, but couldn't adjust the car correctly. Finally, they had to drive away and start over. The on-site situation is roughly simulated here. The main reasons for getting stuck are twofold. First, not getting close enough to the parking space. For example, right now, the aisle itself is narrow. But when reversing, the car body isn't positioned close enough to the space. So when you reverse, the front end easily hits the vehicle opposite, or a wall. Then we are forced to straighten the wheels. But when you straighten them, the rear responds more slowly. This causes what? It doesn't aim for the space entrance, but heads towards the adjacent car's front. Plus, with the narrow aisle, the front has little room to adjust. Turn left and go forward. You can't move far. Thus, the rear position changes very little, even when the rear is within the space entrance area. Right, past the side of this car, you finally turn the wheel. Then, similarly, the rear quickly stops aiming for the space and heads for the adjacent car's front instead. Again, due to the narrow aisle, the front has little adjustment room. You can't advance much, so the rear changes very little. In the end, stuck in the aisle, right? To avoid this situation, focus on these two aspects. How to implement it. First, get as close as possible to the space entrance, then drive forward sufficiently. And most importantly, turn the wheel early, right? We can start turning slightly as soon as we begin moving. This way, the car body can stay close to the cars on this side while reversing, and avoid the vehicles on the other side, right? Only by clearing the other car's front can our rear end enter the space partially. Then the front gains some room to adjust. At that point, turn left forward, right reverse. Can we effectively change the car's orientation, thus allowing our vehicle to quickly reverse into the space? Let's take a look at this situation. The driver in the video wants to exit the parking space, but the car gets stuck in the aisle. Many might be confused, as there seems to be plenty of space. So why does it still get stuck here? Actually, this is a classic case of a wide car in a narrow lane dilemma. Just like in our simulation here, the space we need to navigate is actually quite wide. But because the aisle is so narrow, it's easy to encounter the same problem as the video car. Why? Let's see. Even if we turn the wheel quite late, right? The front end can't make the turn, correct? So we try to adjust, but after adjusting, when we try to turn again, what happens? The inner side can't get through either, right? If we try to adjust for the inner side, by straightening and moving forward a bit, there's no room for the front. So such a narrow aisle only allows our car to pass through straight. When passing through straight, the distance on both sides must be even for the car to drive straight through this aisle. But if you try to make a sharp 90-degree turn, inevitably your rear wheels cannot follow the same path as the front wheels in a straight line. Right, they will always track inward. Even if you turn the wheel very late, some might say, drive out further before turning. Even if we come out this far, there's only this much room to turn. Right, after turning, well, I adjust but I don't reverse much, trying to keep the rear wheels forward. But you'll still find that, as long as the rear wheels aren't aligned straight with the front wheels, it will still get stuck here. Right, still stuck here. If the front and rear wheels aren't in line, it just won't work. So in this situation, to get the car through, we need to perform a lateral shift maneuver. What's a lateral shift? First, let's demonstrate from the start. 1. Drive forward as much as possible. Still, drive forward as much as possible. This makes the rear wheels move forward more. Then we turn the wheel. The front can't get through, right? The front can't get through, correct? Then, when straightening and reversing to gain space for the front, remember this key point, reverse straight back. Don't turn the wheel while reversing. Reversing straight preserves the space on the left, right? Reversing straight keeps this space. When you try to turn again, the car body won't swing too much this way. If you turn the wheel while reversing, the car body moves closer this way, right? The lateral distance decreases. Then when you turn again, it decreases further. A double reduction will make your car get stuck even sooner. Therefore, when making adjustments, if you can't turn, reverse straight back, then turn. Front stuck, reverse straight, then turn. Until what? Until we get stuck like the driver in the video. Then next, we need to perform this lateral shift. What is this lateral shift? First, straighten the wheels and reverse straight back. Reverse all the way back. Then turn towards the right side, moving closer to the cars on the right side where we want to turn. Leave some space. Right, leave some space. Turn left to pull the car straight. After one adjustment, you can see the rear wheels are now closer to being perpendicular to the front wheels, right? But this still isn't enough. We need to do it again. Reverse straight back. Back to the very end. After reaching the end, turn right. Forward, turn right. Make the car shift laterally to the right. Then turn left to straighten the car. This is the lateral shift. Let's see this time. Shifted. After 2 shifts, the wheels are almost perpendicular. If there is a bit more space on the sides, you might manage to turn with some minor adjustments. But to be safe, we can shift one more time. Straighten, reverse back. Again, reverse all the way to the end. Right. Then turn right, getting closer to the car on the right. Then turn left to straighten the car again. Okay, now the front and rear wheels are almost perpendicular, right? Then make fine adjustments, adjusting the distance front and back. Then we can drive the car straight out smoothly. Let's take a look at this example video. The car is preparing for parallel parking, but when checking behind, a large group of electric bikes is blocked behind, making it impossible to park into the space. This kind of situation in real life is not uncommon. For example, like right now, when we are driving on this service road, because the road is narrow, you drive slowly. The electric bike will definitely be faster than you, right? And furthermore, they don't realize your intention to park. They will follow closely behind you, or even go into your parking space, right? So when you see a space ahead and intend to reverse into it, you'll find electric bikes behind you again, and also in the parking space, making it impossible for you to park. For the same scenario, if we use the head-in method, it becomes very practical. For example, like now, we also drive forward, but when our B-pillar reaches the front of the car behind, you turn the wheel fully into the space, letting the front end enter. Once the front is in the space, get as far in as possible, then turn left to start pulling out again. At this point, we might find the front can't get out, but with this maneuver, part of the car body is already in, freeing up the road. Then you can wait a moment and let the electric bikes behind pass, right? Once they have all passed and only a few bikes remain, we can then adjust the car into the space. Turn right fully and reverse, creating space for the front to swing out. Turn left fully and drive forward until no space remains. Then turn right to tuck the rear into the space. Once the rear is in, turn left to straighten the car. This way, we can both yield to the non-motorized vehicles, letting them go first, and also achieve our goal of parking in the space. Okay, reaches the front of the car behind. You turn the wheel fully into the space, letting the front end enter. Once the front is in the space, get as far in as possible, then turn left to start pulling out again. At this point, we might find the front can't get out, but with this maneuver, part of the car body is already in, freeing up the road. Then you can wait a moment and let the electric bikes behind pass, right? Once they have all passed and only a few bikes remain, we can then adjust the car into the space. Turn right fully and reverse, creating space for the front to swing out. Turn left fully and drive forward until no space remains. Then turn right to tuck the rear into the space. Once the rear is in, turn left to straighten the car. This way, we can both yield to the non-motorized vehicles, letting them go first, and also achieve our goal of parking in the first. Keep the wheels turned fully right and drive forward a bit. Then turn fully left instead, and reverse all the way back. This gets the car body close to the white car again. Then, when driving forward, go straight this time, keeping the car body at a slight angle. Next, it's a repetitive process. Turn fully right and reverse, but not all the way. Leave some space, then reverse the other way. This moves the car closer to the white car. Then drive straight forward, turn right and reverse. Then turn left and reverse, drive straight forward. With each iteration, the rear moves further into the passageway. Right, it gets progressively more outside. Yes, increasingly offset. Continue until reaching this point. After one more rock and driving straight forward. When you turn right again to reverse, the rear can clear the rear of the car behind. Right, you can see in the mirror, there's a gap between them. Straighten the wheels immediately, then reverse straight back. Once half the rear, or half the car body is out, you can turn the wheels to the left to move the car further from the rear of that car, thus achieving the goal of exiting the space.
来看案例，这位司机进行转弯，由于旁边停了一辆斜向的货车，就导致车头可以出来，但是车尾被卡住的现象。来，咱们讲一下这个场景应该怎么去调整。我们一直在讲车头先出，离这障碍点越远越好，所以我们就需要让后轮去往右移动，尽可能去做到和货车的角度进行平行。你看，障碍点这边有空间了，而且车身也直了，车身越直越好出嘛。但是怎样才能让后轮往右走呢？还是利用平移的方式。你看卡住之后，咱们先原路倒回去，去远离危险。好，接下来平移应该怎么做？可以看到左边的空间很小，做倒车平移显然是不合适，很容易出现剐蹭，所以还是得用前进式平移进行调整。好，继续往后倒，给前面留出空间，往哪边平移就往哪边打方向。右打方向往前走，车头留出一半的空间，反方向拉回来。这里有一个重点，就是往前走的时候，我们一定要以右车头的极限为准，目的是让后轮跟着往右前方顺。你看现在后轮这里是不是空间大一些了？如果还过不去，那我们就重复刚才的操作，再来一次，直着倒车，右打方向往前走，留出空间拉回车身，以车头的极限为准往前顺。每做一次，你的后轮就会往右走一点，你左边的空间也就会大一点。其实现在呢，直着往前走是可以出来的，但是如果你感觉还是紧，那我们就再来一次，因为每做一次，你左边的空间就会更大一些，同时你的车身角度呢和货车就会越来越平行。这样做就等于我们是直着开出来的。
Let's take a look at this case video. The car is reversing into the parking space. However, the aisle is filled with many parked electric scooters, making the aisle particularly narrow. You can see that each time the driver reverses, it's very difficult to align the rear with the space entrance. Let's simulate the situation on site. First, observe that, because the aisle is so narrow, when reversing into the space, it's hard to turn the steering wheel fully. Otherwise, the front end swings out and risks hitting the electric scooters parked opposite. But if we don't turn the wheel enough, the rear swings very slowly. It doesn't aim towards the space entrance. Instead, it gets blocked by the front of the adjacent car. And when blocked like this, there's no room to adjust the car's front either. If we turn right and move forward here, or turn left and reverse, after just a few adjustments, the car can easily get stuck in the aisle. Right, so in a situation like this, to successfully reverse in, we cannot let the car body move away from this car's rear. Instead, the car body must stay close to its rear to complete the parking maneuver. So how exactly is this done? First, while in the aisle, try to drive forward closely, alongside the car already in the parking space. Try to go as far forward as possible. When reversing, still try to turn early, but don't turn the wheel fully. Begin reversing. At this point, we encounter the same scenario. The rear doesn't aim for the space, but towards the adjacent car's front. So at this moment, we should not reverse all the way. Well, there is still some reversing distance left. Straighten the wheels, then turn fully right and reverse. This allows our car body to get close again to the rear of the adjacent car. Then straighten the wheels and drive straight forward. Continue until there's little room left in front. Then turn left again and reverse. Now, similarly, the more we reverse, the more the car body moves away from the adjacent car's rear. Right, so we preserve some reversing space. Turn right instead and reverse. Getting close again, then drive straight forward. With each repetition of this maneuver, our car body stays close to the adjacent car's rear, while gradually clearing its front end. After performing this reverse push 2 or 3 times, the next time we turn left and reverse, watch the right side closely. Doesn't it now clear the adjacent car's front? It's even reversed back to about its pillar position. At this point, our car's front also has some room to move forward. Now, we can turn right and move forward. Then turn left and reverse. Slowly straighten and align the car. Thus, we manage to push the car into the space. Once in, if the spacing is uneven left and right, we can make a lateral adjustment within the space. Turn left, move forward. Then turn right, move forward, adjusting the distance on both sides, thereby completing this narrow all-reverse parking. Let's take a look at this. Many of you are curious. How do we get this car out? There's a pillar behind it, and you're this close. There's also a pillar in front. Me, an 8-year experienced driver, don't know how to get it out. Let's simulate the actual situation. Many viewers probably share the same concern as the filmer. That is, with our cars. Left rear wheel so close to this pillar. When we reverse and turn the wheel fully left, won't it hit the pillar? Actually, no. When we turn fully left and reverse, the rear wheel doesn't move sideways. Instead, it moves back, circling around the pillar. Furthermore, when we turn fully right and move forward, many might worry, won't the rear swing out when you go forward? The answer is, it won't swing out. Instead, what happens is, it's guided by the front wheels and moves directly to the right? Even if you're extremely close to the pillar, like this right now, almost touching the pillar. If you turn left and reverse, it will still circle around the pillar. No sideways movement. And when turning right and moving forward, again, the rear won't swing out. This is partly due to the rear suspension design, a specific design feature. The result is our car's rear simply doesn't swing out. Instead, it follows the direction of the front wheel's turn. Let's take a look at this case study video. The car is stuck in the parking space. If it wants to reverse out, it can't avoid the car behind. If it wants to turn around on the spot, there's an illegally parked car in the aisle. So the actual situation is roughly as we've simulated here. First, let's observe the situation. If the vehicle wants to turn around and leave, it would need to turn left to go forward, right? But because of this illegally parked car, the car body cannot complete a turn here. Right, it simply can't turn around. If it wants the rear to exit first, to swing the rear out, because the rear wheels cannot steer. Right, so even if the car pulls forward to the limit, then when you reverse, the rear wheels can't steer. You turn the front wheels, start reversing, and the front hits the inner wall. Plus, your rear still can't clear the car behind. Therefore, to get out in a situation like this, as we've explained before, the method is to use a shimmying technique, moving the car bit by bit to the left. However, looking at this space, the distance front and back is very short. So if you use the shimmying method, you don't know how many maneuvers it will take. Jokingly speaking, you might wear out your engine before you can even get out, right? So, we can adapt to the actual situation and use the small space in front of the illegally parked car to create more lateral moving distance. This allows our car to escape more easily. How exactly is this done? Let's see. First, we push the car all the way forward in the space, then turn left to go forward, right to reverse, until the front of our car can reach, well, that space in front of the parked car. With the car now angled like this, the available space to move forward and back becomes larger, right, doesn't it? The reversing space here is longer and the front also has some room. At this point, we use this larger space to shift the car body to the left. How is this done specifically? First, to shift left. The first steering input is turn left. Turn left and reverse, but don't reverse all the way. Leave some space, then turn right and reverse. It's the same when going forward. First, turn left and drive forward, but don't go all the way forward. Leave some space, then turn right and drive forward. Repeat this process. Our car will gradually move to the left. Consequently, the rear also gradually moves into the aisle. Let's execute turn left, reverse, leave space, turn right, reverse, turn left, forward, leave space, turn right, forward. Then repeat, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, with each maneuver. The rear of our car can shift laterally into the aisle by a certain amount, right? Look, now about 1/3 of the rear is still obstructed. Probably one more try is almost enough. See, right? Until what point? Until we can, well, avoid the car behind. Like now, we can asterisk just asterisk but we're still quite close to it. At this moment, we don't necessarily need to shimmy further. You can simply pull the car forward a bit. Then turn left to avoid the rear of the car on the right. Then balance the spacing on both sides. So steer towards whichever side has more space. Until the car is straight in the aisle. Then reverse the vehicle straight out of the space. Let's take a look at this case. Because a car is parked in front of the space, the pathway becomes very narrow. We can see that even with a friend's assistance, the driver ultimately couldn't park the car and got stuck in the lane. Let's roughly simulate the situation on site. First, for reverse parking in such a narrow lane like this, if we don't make any adjustments and just reverse while keeping the car body close to the front of one side's car, because the lane is narrow, we can't turn the steering wheel fully. This causes the rear end not to head towards the parking space entrance, but towards the adjacent car's front. At this point, combined with the narrow lane, our own car's front has no room to adjust. So at this moment, we would end up like the driver, unable to adjust after a few tries. The car gets increasingly stuck in the lane, eventually becoming tightly wedged in the pathway. Therefore, in this situation, we must properly utilize the space on the left side of the car body to park successfully. So how exactly is this done? First, drive close to the car in the parking space and move forward as much as possible. Then, when reversing, let the car body stay as close as possible to the front of the car on the left while backing up. We'll encounter the same problem as the driver. We can't turn the wheel fully, so the rear heads towards the neighboring car's front. At this point, don't reverse all the way. Keep some reversing room, then turn the steering wheel fully to the right and reverse. This makes our car body get close again to the front of the car on the left. Then drive straight forward. Then reverse again, turning left. With each adjustment like this, the rear goes deeper into the space. So we turn right and reverse again. Okay, then drive straight forward. Each time it goes deeper, we'll have more leeway. For adjustment later, more room for the front. After a few of these counter-reversing maneuvers, we reverse the other way. Okay, then drive straight forward. After several adjustments, when we turn left and reverse again, watch the right side of the rear. It can go much deeper into the space, right? Compared to being blocked by its front before, this time it even reaches the rearview mirror position, so now, our car's front has more room to adjust. Also, our car body will be more perpendicular to the space entrance. At this point, we turn the wheel fully right and drive forward, then turn fully left and reverse. After just a few adjustments, we can straighten the car in the space. Once the car is straight, perform a final sideways shift, turn left forward, then right forward, to adjust the left and right distance, thus completing this reverse parking in an extremely narrow lane.
我们来看一下这个案例，停车场遗留的唯一的库位，可是呢，库位的正前方刚好违停着一辆车，导致通道呢很窄。那么好多车主呢尝试了一把，感觉停不进去，都放弃了。唯有视频最后呢，黑车车主只是轻松的调整了一把，就把车呢给停了进去。现场的情况呢，咱们来大概模拟一下。首先呢，像这种情况下，咱们想要把车倒进去的话，其实也并不难，咱们只需要利用右边车和违停车辆形成的这个空间，尽量的把车呢给充分的摆斜就行了。摆斜到什么程度呢？在咱们的车尾挨着右边这辆车的车头的同时，咱们的车头呢要挨着违停车辆的车尾，这样咱们车身的斜度足够大，车尾便能进库进的足够的多，然后呢车头能留下调整空间，咱们只需要左打往前，再右打往后，这样稍微调整几把呢，便能把车给顺直顺正，对不对？那么怎么着把车尽量的去摆斜呢？也不难。首先呢，咱们可以让车辆呢尽量的顺着库位上的车呢去往前开，然后呢开始往后倒。在倒的过程中，先观察着右侧，让咱们的车轮呢尽量的紧贴着右边这辆车的车头。那么当咱们的后车轮到达右边车这个车头角的时候呢， 停一下，注意观察一下咱们左边的车身有没有挨住它的车尾。如果说像现在这样的话没有挨着它，咱们不能往后倒，因为这种情况下你往后倒的话呢，咱们车身摆的斜度不够，车尾呢变往后退的少，它会早早的被它挡住，咱们的车头就没有调整空间了，对不对？那么当咱们往后倒的时候，发现这个车尾到达这个车头角的时候，咱们的车身没有挨住它怎么办呢？这个时候咱们只需要往左打往前开，然后再往右打往前开，做一个简单的平移，让左右两边的空间都出来，然后重新往右打往后倒车，这样再一次咱们退到后车轮到它车头角的时候呢，咱们的车头也就贴上它的车尾了，对不对？然后呢，咱们这时候便可以回正方向，先直着往后退，等着咱们的车头错过它的车身以后，再往右加点方向往后倒，直到咱们这个车尾呢倒到后边危险了，咱们车头有足够的调整空间，这个时候呢，往左打往前开一把，再往右打往后倒，把车呢停入库内。进来以后宽窄不一样呢，咱们再做一个平移，右打往前，左打往前，好，直直的往后倒，从而呢把车停入这种情况的库位。
Let's take a look at this case. The only parking spot left in the lot. However, a car is illegally parked right in front of the spot, making the lane very narrow. Many drivers tried once, felt they couldn't get in, and gave up. Only in the video. Finally, the black car driver just adjusted easily once and parked the car inside. Let's roughly simulate the situation on site. First, in a situation like this, if we want to back the car in, it's actually not that difficult. We just need to use the space formed between the car on the right and the illegally parked car to angle the car sufficiently. We need to get the car at a sharp angle. How sharp should the angle be? While our car's rear is close to the front of the car on the right, our car's front should be close to the rear of the illegally parked car. This way, our car body has a sufficient angle, allowing the rear to go deep into the spot. Then there is space to adjust the front. We just need to turn right, then left, move forward, then right again, move backward. After a few adjustments like this, the car can be straightened out, right? So how do we get the car angled sufficiently? It's not hard at first. We can drive the car forward, staying close to the car behind us. Then start reversing. While reversing, first watch the right side, letting our rear wheel stay close to the front of the car on the right. When our rear wheel reaches the corner of the right car's front, stop. Check the left side of our car body to see if it's close to its rear. If it's like now, not close, we cannot reverse further, because if you reverse in this situation, the car's angle isn't sharp enough. The rear won't go back far enough, and it will be blocked early, leaving no room to adjust the front, right? So when we reverse back and find that when the rear reaches that front corner, our car body isn't close to it, what to do? At this point, we just need to turn left and move forward, then turn right and move forward, making a simple lateral shift to create space on both sides. Then turn right again and start reversing. This time, when we back up until the rear wheel is at its front corner, our car front will also be close to its rear. Right, then we can straighten the wheels and reverse straight back first. Once our car front clears its body, add some right turn and continue reversing until our car rear is far enough in and the front has enough room to adjust. At this point, turn left, move forward, then turn right, move backward, guiding the car into the spot. Once in, if the space is uneven, we make another lateral adjustment, right, forward, then reverse straight back, thus parking the car in this tricky spot. Let's take a look at this case video. The car is reversing out of a slanted parking space. However, because the aisle is extremely narrow, you can see the driver adjusted multiple times, but still couldn't get the car out of the space. Eventually, it got stuck in the aisle. So regarding the on-site situation, let's roughly simulate it. First, in a situation like this, if you want to reverse the car out and then drive it away, you'll find that if you make no adjustments and just steer while reversing, because the aisle is narrow, once you reverse to the end, the front of the car simply can't clear, right? Therefore, in such a scenario, the key is to make an adjustment before exiting. For example, we can try to get the car's rear as close as possible to the car on the left first. This way, the car's rear can reverse out further, creating space for the front. How to do it? It's simple. While reversing, first turn left and reverse. Then, before reaching the end, turn right and reverse. Then, while moving forward, make a lateral shift. Turn left and move forward. Then turn right and move forward. With each such cycle, the entire body of the car shifts left a bit. Continue, turn left, reverse. Then turn right, reverse. Turn left, go forward, turn right, go forward, until the car is reasonably close to the car on the left. Then you can first reverse until you are level with the car on the left. Mirror to mirror, ensuring you don't hit its rear. Then turn left again and reverse. This way, when the rear is fully out, there's more room to adjust the front. Turn right and drive straight forward. If there's danger, reverse once more as needed, then drive straight forward. Thus, you can successfully complete reversing out in this situation. Let's examine this case video. A car is attempting a U-turn on a very narrow road section. As a result, the vehicle becomes stuck in the lane with no way to move the car through quickly. It causes significant disruption to traffic in both directions. Let's roughly simulate the on-site situation. First, the driver likely got stuck here because during the U-turn, they didn't pull forward enough. For instance, moving forward only until reaching the guardrail here, then turning left too early. When proceeding forward like this, the rear isn't affected by the guardrail behind. But if the front can't complete the turn in one go, reversing to give the front more space, and then turning left to move forward again, you'll find the front runs out of space, and the rear gets close to the left guardrail, right? In this case, if you reverse back and try to go forward, the inner side will hit the rail. So in such a situation, to adjust the car through, you can use a lateral shift technique. Just reverse the car as far back as possible. Then turn right and move forward a bit. Next, turn left and move forward a bit. Each time you do this, the car body shifts to the right by a small distance, increasing the gap from the central guardrail. After repeating this 2 or 3 times, you can maneuver the car out of the lane. Secondly, when making a U-turn, the key is to remember, pull forward as much as possible. For example, before oncoming traffic arrives, try to drive forward as far as you can, bringing the front close to the opposite guardrail. This way, after initiating the turn, when the front can't go further, reverse back. The car body will still have some lateral distance from this side's guardrail. Then, when turning left to go forward again, and the front stops, reversing back, leave space on the inner side for adjustment. This prevents the car from getting stuck on the central guardrail. Therefore, this is a key characteristic of narrow road U-turns. The main point is to pull forward sufficiently to leave space on the inner side. Today, we're sharing how to reverse into this kind of angled parking space facing the opposite direction. Let's roughly simulate the actual situation on site. First, the driver probably wants to leave conveniently later, so they don't want to pull in headfirst. However, when reversing into an angled space facing the opposite direction, using the traditional reversing method is very difficult. Like right now, even if they try to get as far forward as possible and turn the steering wheel early, the rear of the car still gets blocked early by this car here. Furthermore, usually, aisles for angled parking are quite narrow. Trying to turn right and pull forward, then left and reverse back, it's still hard to swing the rear end over. It's easy to get stuck in the aisle. Right, so in this situation, to successfully reverse they need to make several adjustments during the process. For example, first, they should still try to stay close to the side of the target space and drive forward. Try to drive forward as much as possible. When starting to reverse, turn the wheel early so the car's rear follows closely behind the rear of the neighboring car. While reversing, don't go all the way back. Leave some room to reverse further. Then straighten the wheels and turn fully to the right to reverse all the way back. This makes the car body move closer to the car on the left, and the rear goes further into the space. Then drive straight forward again. Seeing there's not much room in front, they turn left and reverse again. Leave some reversing room, then turn right and reverse back. Then drive straight forward. With each repetition of this operation, the rear of the car goes further into the space. This continues until, when they turn left and reverse again, the rear of the car goes deep enough. Like right now, they turn left and reverse, and the rear has reached about the middle of the car behind. Right at this point, there is much more room to adjust the front of the car. Then they turn right and pull forward, turn left and reverse back, and easily adjust the rear of the car into position, thus completing the reverse parking into this opposite-facing angled space. Let's look at a case. After this lady completed her parallel parking maneuver, she noticed the car body was positioned too far out. She made several adjustments, but ultimately failed to park successfully. So what caused this situation? It's because during the first reverse attempt, she didn't get the rear wheels inside before she started turning the steering wheel back. That's why we always emphasize that beginners must first get the rear wheels inside during parallel parking. Check both side mirrors and try to position the inner rear wheel as far in as possible. Then you only need to focus on whether there's enough space to straighten the front. As long as there is space, move the front left a little, then reverse in the opposite direction a little. Repeat this process. After listening to this, your car body will definitely not be positioned too far out. Let's take a look at this case video. A car is making a U-turn on a very narrow road section. As a result, the car body gets stuck in the lane. Since there's no way to move the car out quickly, it causes significant disruption to traffic in both directions. Let's roughly simulate the on-site situation. First, the reason the driver got stuck here is likely that during the U-turn, they didn't pull forward enough. For instance, here they only move forward until the person reaches the guardrail and turn the steering wheel left too early. Then, when we move forward again, the front won't be affected by the guardrail behind. But if the car can't complete the U-turn in one go, and we reverse while turning the opposite way to make space for the front, then when turning left and moving forward again, you'll find the front has no room And the rear is also close to the left guardrail, right? In this situation, if you reverse again and move forward, the inner side will hit the guardrail. So in a case like this, if we want to adjust the car through, we can actually use a lateral shift. Just back up as much as possible, all the way to the end. Then turn right and move forward a bit. Then turn left and move forward a bit. Each time we do this, the car body can shift to the right by a certain distance from the central guardrail. After doing this 2 or 3 times, we can drive the car out of this lane. Secondly, when making a U-turn, we should also try our best to do what? Pull forward more. We can pull forward as much as possible, getting the front as close to the opposite guardrail as we can. This way, after we turn, when the front can't go further, we turn the opposite way and reverse back. There will still be some lateral distance between the car body and this side's guardrail. Then, when we turn left and move forward again, if the front can't go through, we reverse back, and there will still be space on the inner side for adjustment. So when we finally drive through, we won't get stuck by the central guardrail. Therefore, this is a key characteristic of U-turns on narrow roads. The main point is to pull forward as much as possible to leave space on the inner side. Let's take a look at this case video. The car is reversing into the parking space. However, there is a car illegally parked right in front of the space. This makes the passage very narrow. We can see the driver tried several times. Let's roughly simulate the situation. We'll roughly simulate the situation. First, in this kind of scenario, if we want to back the car in, there's one key point. That is, we must utilize the gap formed by this illegally parked car and the roadside. We need to tilt our car as much as possible. Tilt it so the right rear is near the curb, and our front end gets as close as possible to the front of the illegally parked car. Once our car body has a sufficient slant, the rear can move back far enough, right? Then, our front end will have more room for adjustment. We can turn left and move forward, then turn right and reverse to straighten the car. So specifically, how do we get the car to tilt as much as possible? First, drive forward staying close to the curb. Drive forward a bit more, and turn the wheel early. First, watch the right wheel, and try to keep it close to the curb while reversing. When our rear wheel passes this corner of the curb, check if our car body is close enough to the front of the illegally parked car. If it's like the current situation, that won't work. The car's angle while entering is too shallow. At this point, we just need a simple lateral shift. Turn left and move forward a bit. Then turn right and move forward a bit. Then turn right again and start reversing. After this lateral shift, you'll notice that when we once again have the wheel at this corner, the car body is close to its front, right? Then, straighten the wheels and continue reversing. Once our front end clears its body, turn right again and continue reversing until the rear is in a safe position. At this point, the front will have some room for adjustment. We can then turn left and move forward, then turn right and reverse to straighten and adjust the car into the space. Once inside, if it's too far to the left, we can do another lateral shift inside the space. Turn right and move forward halfway, then turn left and move forward halfway. Then, while reversing, we can do another lateral shift. Turn right and reverse, then turn left and reverse, and park the car properly. The reason the rear of the car can't swing over is because there's too little space on the left. You can't turn the steering wheel fully, so the angle of the rear just can't swing around. But if we think ahead and shift the car body to the right first, the space on the left becomes much larger. Then when we reverse, getting out of the space becomes very simple. So we still need to use a lateral shifting method. To move the car body right, split the space behind the car in two. Reverse normally, leaving half the space. Steer the opposite way to pull the car back. Then follow with a forward lateral shift. Turn right and drive forward. Split the space in front of the car in two. Leave half the space, then pull the front back. See how much more to the right the car is now. Now, when we reverse, it's very simple. You can also use the space behind a bit. Make a slight adjustment and you're out. The space now is very generous. Even if there are cars beside and behind, the idea for exiting is exactly the same. Use lateral shifting to move the car right. After shifting, angle the car. Check the mirrors, and reverse close to the obstacle point. The key isn't the amount of space you have, but whether you have the foresight to think, to adjust. So these things need to be practiced and understood. You must apply them in real situations. Otherwise, your driving skills won't improve much. Let's watch this driver perform reverse parking. Because the road is quite narrow, after the rear of the car goes in, there's no room in front to adjust. So for this kind of narrow space reverse parking, what should we do? See, he did the initial part very well. He gets as close as possible to the parking space side to leave enough room for the front end to swing out on the other side. But because the road is narrow, even after maximizing the reverse maneuver, he still gets stuck here. So in this situation, if you want to get in, you'll definitely need to use the pull forward technique. The operation itself is quite simple. The beginning is the same. Get close to the parking space side to create swing room on the other side. Once the rear wheels pass the obstacle point, we can reverse normally as the car body moves backward. The distance on the left will increase. We just need to leave about half the space behind the car, then steer the opposite way to pull the car body back. This technique is the pull forward. It's essentially a lateral shift while reversing. Now look at the position of the rear wheels. Then we just drive straight forward and reverse again. Repeat the previous steps. Each time you do it, the rear wheels move inward a bit. As the rear wheels go further in, space for the front naturally opens up. So the pull forward operation is very simple. Leave about half the space behind. Steer the opposite way to pull back. Then drive straight forward and reverse again. After several pull forward maneuvers, the rear wheels are halfway into the space. The further we get in, the more space opens up in front. With one more adjustment, we'll be parked. If the car isn't straight after getting in, use the lateral shift idea to adjust a bit.